I still remember the exact moment I walked into Harrison and Associates for my first day. The lobby smelled like fresh flowers and money, two things I'd never had much of. My heels were from a thrift store in Brooklyn, polished until they almost looked new. Almost. "You must be the new file clerk," the receptionist said without looking up. Her name was Charlotte, and she had the kind of blonde hair that looked like it cost more to maintain than my monthly rent. "Actually, I'm the new junior accountant," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Olivia Porter." She finally looked at me. Her eyes traveled from my braids to my second-hand blazer, and something flickered across her face. Surprise, maybe. Or disappointment. "Oh, HR didn't mention." She trailed off, but I knew exactly what she meant. They didn't mention I was black. I'd grown up in Bed-Stuy, raised by my grandmother after my mother passed when I was 7. Grandma worked 3 jobs to keep me in school, and I'd worked 2 jobs while getting my accounting degree at night. I graduated top of my class. I earned this position. But standing in that marble lobby, I felt like an imposter wearing someone else's life. "The accounting department is on the 14th floor," Charlotte said, already looking back at her computer. "Elevators to your left." The 14th floor was a maze of glass offices and designer suits. I found my desk, a small cubicle in the corner, far from the windows where the senior accountants sat bathed in natural light. My supervisor was a woman named Emma Richardson, mid-40s with sharp cheekbones and sharper eyes. "You'll start with data entry," she said, dropping a stack of folders on my desk that was at least a foot tall. "I know you have a degree, but everyone starts at the bottom here. Proves who's serious." I nodded. I'd been proving myself serious my entire life. The first week was bearable. The second week, the whispers started. "Did you hear she's from Brooklyn?" Like the bad part. Diversity hire, obviously. You know how it is these days. I heard she didn't even go to a real university. Some community college situation. I pretended not to hear. I focused on my work, staying late every night, triple-checking every number. I found 3 errors in the Morrison account that would have cost the company thousands. I didn't mention it to anyone except Emma, who took the credit in the department meeting without ever saying my name. That's when I started to understand how things really worked at Harrison and Associates. The company was old money, founded by William Harrison in 1952. His grandson, James Harrison, now ran the show, though I'd never seen him. He existed on the executive floor, a mythical figure whispered about in break rooms. Handsome, they said. Brilliant. Worth more money than God. I didn't care about James Harrison. I cared about keeping my job, paying off my student loans, and maybe, someday, and buying my grandmother a house with a garden. Simple dreams for a complicated world. By my 3rd month, the whispers had become something worse. "Olivia, did you take the Patterson file?" Emma asked one morning, her voice carrying across the entire floor. "No, I finished with it yesterday and returned it to the archive." "Well, it's not there, and Mr. Patterson is coming in at 2. Everyone was staring. I could feel their eyes on my back like sunlight through a magnifying glass. "I can check the archive again." "Ava already checked, it's not there." Emma's lips pressed into a thin line. This is exactly why I was hesitant about rushing the onboarding process. Rushing, as if 3 rounds of interviews and a skills assessment was rushing. I spent my lunch hour searching for that file. I found it eventually, misfiled under P for Patterson instead of in the client's company section. The same section where Ava had supposedly checked. When I brought it to Emma, she just nodded. "Try to be more careful next time," she said. I started documenting everything after that. Every file I touched, every task I completed, every email I sent. I kept copies of everything in a folder on my personal drive. Grandma always said, "Baby, in a world that doesn't believe you, you gotta believe in your own receipts." I didn't know how right she was. It was a rainy Thursday when I first saw him. I was in the copy room, fighting with a printer that had decided to eat my quarterly report when the door opened behind me. "You have to hit it on the left side," a male voice said. "Right where the paper tray meets the base. Old thing's been temperamental since 2019. I turned around and forgot how to breathe. He was tall, at least 6'2", with dark hair and eyes the color of expensive whiskey. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than my car. But his smile was disarming, warm, real. "I'm James," he said, extending his hand. "James Harrison." My hand trembled slightly as I shook his. His grip was firm but gentle. "Olivia Porter, junior accountant." "I know." He smiled again. "I've been reviewing the department reports. You found the Morrison discrepancy." I blinked. "How did you—" "I make it my business to know who's actually doing good work around here." He reached past me and hit the printer exactly where he'd described. It whirred back to life, spitting out my report perfectly. "Don't let this place change you, Olivia Porter. There aren't enough people like you here." He was gone before I could respond. That night I lay in my tiny apartment staring at the water stain on my ceiling, replaying that conversation over and over. He knew my name. He knew about my work. And he'd looked at me like I was a person, not a problem. It didn't mean anything, I told myself. Rich white men didn't notice women like me except when they needed something. But I couldn't stop thinking about the way he'd said my name. The harassment escalated slowly, the way it always does. Small things at first. My lunch going missing from the fridge, my desk chair mysteriously disappearing, emails from coworkers that CC'd everyone except me. Then came the bigger things. "Olivia, did you seriously submit this report with these numbers?" Sophia Martinez, a senior accountant with perfect hair and a permanent smirk, held up my quarterly analysis in front of the entire department. Even a high schooler could see these don't add up. My face burned. "Those numbers are correct. I can show you my calculations. Maybe you should have someone double-check your work from now on." She tossed the report on my desk. "Someone who actually knows what they're doing." I checked those numbers 17 times that night. They were perfect. The next morning I discovered that someone had accessed my computer after hours and changed 3 figures in the report. 3 figures that made me look incompetent. I reported it to IT. They said they'd look into it. They never got back to me. By the end of my 6th month, I was exhausted. Not the regular tired of long hours and hard work. This was something deeper. The kind of tired that settles into your bones and makes you forget who you were before you started fighting just to exist. I was standing in the elevator one evening alone, when the doors opened on the executive floor and James Harrison stepped in. "Late night?" he asked. "Every night," I said before I could stop myself. He was quiet for a moment. Then, "I've been watching what's happening in your department, Olivia." My heart stopped. "Sir?" "James." He turned to look at me directly. "And I want you to know, I see it, what they're doing to you, and it's not acceptable." The elevator reached the lobby. The doors opened. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He stepped out, then turned back. "Because someone should have told you months ago. And because—" He paused, something vulnerable flickering across his face. "Because I think you're extraordinary. And I'm not the only one who's going to realize that." He walked away into the rainy night, leaving me standing in the elevator with my heart pounding and tears threatening to fall. For the first time in months, I didn't feel invisible. The flowers arrived on a Monday, white orchids, elegant and understated, sitting on my desk when I arrived at work. No card, no explanation. Charlotte from reception was staring at me with undisguised curiosity as I touched the delicate petals. "Secret admirer?" Ava asked, but there was something sharp beneath her sweetness. "How unexpected." I knew who sent them. I didn't know what it meant. That week things started to change. Not with my coworkers. They were the same as ever, perhaps worse, but with James. He found reasons to be on the 14th floor. He asked for my input on reports. He remembered small things I'd mentioned in passing. My grandmother's upcoming birthday, my preference for chamomile tea, my dream of someday traveling to Ghana to see where my family came from. "You listen," I said one evening when we found ourselves alone in the break room. "Most people at this company don't listen to me at all. Most people at this company are fools," he said simply. We started having lunch together. Discreetly at first, a sandwich in the conference room while reviewing documents, coffee in his office while discussing account strategies. I told myself it was professional. I told myself the way my heart raced when he walked in a room was nothing. I was lying to myself. People are talking, I said one afternoon. We were in his office, the city spread out behind him like a promise. About us. Let them talk. It's different for you. I stood up, moving toward the window. You're James Harrison. They'll say you're eccentric, unconventional. They'll say you're being charitable. I turned to face him. They'll say I'm sleeping my way to the top. He crossed the room in 3 strides. He stood close enough that I could smell his cologne, sandalwood and something warm. Olivia, I don't care what they say about me. I care about what they're doing to you. His hand lifted, hesitated, then gently touched my face. I care about you. I stepped back. Every part of me wanted to lean into his touch, but survival instincts ran deeper than desire. You don't know what you're asking for, I whispered. Your family, your board, your entire world. They won't accept this. They won't accept me. Then I'll change my world. He said it like it was simple. Like a man who'd never been told no could simply rearrange reality to suit his heart. That night, I called my grandmother. Grandma, what do you do when something feels too good to be true? Her laugh crackled through the phone. Baby girl, you test it. Real gold doesn't mind the fire, the fake stuff burns right up. The fire came faster than I expected. I need to speak with you, Emma said the following week, closing her office door behind me. It's been brought to my attention that you've been spending considerable time with Mr. Harrison. I kept my face neutral. We've been working on several projects together. Is that what you call it? Her smile was cold. Olivia, I'm going to be frank. Whatever you think is happening, it's not real. Men like James Harrison don't end up with women like... She gestured vaguely at me. Lee. You're a passing curiosity, an act of rebellion against his family maybe, but when he's done playing, and he will be done, you'll have nothing. No job, no reputation, no future. My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. Is that a threat? It's a reality check, one I wish someone had given me 20 years ago. Something flickered in her eyes. Old pain. Maybe. I'm trying to help you. With respect, Mrs. Richardson, I don't think you are. I left her office knowing I'd made an enemy. The attacks intensified. Someone started a rumor that I'd falsified my credentials. HR launched an investigation. I had to provide my diploma, my transcripts, proof that I was who I said I was, while my white colleagues with the same degrees were never questioned. They found nothing, of course, because there was nothing to find. But the damage was done. People avoided me in the hallways. The break room went silent when I entered. Even Mia from reception, who'd always been kind to me, stopped meeting my eyes. You need to document everything, James said one night. We were at a small restaurant in Queens, far from anyone who might recognize us. Dates, times, witnesses. If they're creating a hostile work environment, I have been documenting. For months. I pushed my food around my plate. But it doesn't matter. It's my word against theirs. And there are a lot more of them. He reached across the table and took my hand. I didn't pull away. Come to the charity gala with me. I looked up. What? The Harrison Foundation Gala, next month. Come with me. His eyes were intense, unwavering. Let me show them, all of them, that you're not someone to be dismissed. James, your mother will be there. Your entire family. The board of directors, the partners, I know who will be there. I want them to meet the woman I'm falling in love with. The world stopped. The restaurant noise faded. There was only James and the weight of his words and the terrifying hope blooming in my chest. You don't mean that, I said. You barely know me. I know that you're the smartest person in that building. I know you drink chamomile tea when you're stressed and coffee when you're focused. I know you send half your paycheck to your grandmother every month. I know you cry during commercials about dogs but pretend you have allergies. He smiled. I know you're afraid to trust me because everyone else has let you down, but I'm not going anywhere, Olivia. I'm asking you to let me prove it. I said yes. The next month was a strange blend of terror and joy. James and I grew closer, sharing dinners, long conversations, stolen moments. He met my grandmother, showed up at her apartment with flowers, and left 3 hours later with a promise to come back for Sunday dinner. She called me afterward. "That man loves you, baby. I can see it in his eyes." But I could also see the storm gathering. At work, Benjamin Cross, the company's CFO and James's rival for power within the firm, started paying attention to me. He was 55, with silver hair and the kind of smile that never reached his eyes. "Ms. Porter," he said one day, appearing at my desk, "I hear you've been keeping busy." "Just doing my job, Mr. Cross." "Is that what they're calling it these days?" He chuckled, but there was no warmth in it. "A word of advice. James Harrison is many things, but reliable isn't one of them. Whatever promises he's made you, I'd get them in writing." I didn't respond. But I started noticing things. Benjamin meeting with Emma behind closed doors. Sophia and Charlotte whispering and going quiet when I approached. Ava suddenly being assigned to audit all of my work from the past 6 months. They were building something. I just didn't know what yet. The night before the gala, James called me. His voice was strained. "My mother knows about the gala." My stomach dropped. "And?" "She's not happy. She's threatened to have the board review my position if I bring you." I closed my eyes. Here it was. The moment I'd been waiting for, dreading, knowing would come. "Then don't bring me. Your career, your family's company." "No." His voice was fierce. "No. I told her I'd rather lose it all than lose you. And I meant it. I'm picking you up at 7 tomorrow. I wore a red dress. My grandmother helped me pick it out. You walk in there like you own the place. Baby. Because you're the only one who earned the right to be there." When James saw me, he stopped breathing. Just for a moment. Just long enough for me to believe. The gala was held at the Harrison estate in Connecticut. Crystal chandeliers, champagne towers, women in diamonds worth more than my lifetime earnings. And me, the only black face in a sea of white. Mrs. Eleanor Harrison approached us within the first hour. She was elegant in the way of old money, every hair in place, every pearl perfectly positioned. But her eyes were winter. "James. And this must be Olivia." She said my name like it tasted bitter. "I've heard so much about you." "All good things, I hope," I said, keeping my voice light. She looked me up and down. "That dress is very bold." "Thank you. Red is my power color." Something shifted in her eyes. Surprise, maybe? Or the beginning of a battle she hadn't expected me to fight. The evening was a gauntlet. Whispers followed me everywhere. Benjamin Cross made a toast that somehow managed to mention the importance of heritage and tradition in the Harrison legacy. Sophia was there as someone's +1, and she smirked at me across the room like she knew a secret. But James never left my side. Not once. His hand on my back, his voice in my ear, his presence a shield against the arrows they kept throwing. "I love you," he said as we danced. "Whatever comes next, remember that." What came next was waiting for me on Monday morning. Emma called me into a conference room where Benjamin Cross sat at the head of the table with Ava, Sophia, and a woman from HR. "Olivia," Benjamin said, "we've completed the audit of your work over the past 6 months. I'm afraid we've discovered some irregularities." My blood ran cold. "What kind of irregularities?" Ava slid a folder across the table. "Discrepancies in 3 client accounts, totaling nearly $50,000. I opened the folder. The numbers swam before my eyes. Numbers I didn't recognize. Entries I'd never made. "This isn't my work," I said. "Someone altered these files." "That's a serious accusation." Benjamin's voice was silky. "But unfortunately, the digital trail leads directly to your login credentials." I looked around the table. At their satisfied faces, at their careful manipulation, at months of planning coming together in one perfect trap. "You're being placed on administrative leave effective immediately," the HR woman said, "pending a full investigation." I stood up slowly. My hands weren't shaking, my voice didn't break. "I will find out who did this," I said. "And when I do, You'll wish you'd left me alone. I walked out of that building with my head high, but in the elevator, alone, I let myself cry. 3 weeks of administrative leave, 3 weeks of silence from the company, 3 weeks of my reputation being quietly shredded while I sat in my tiny apartment and planned. Grandma brought me food every few days. James called every night, sometimes every hour. His voice was my anchor when everything else felt like drowning. I'm having my own forensic team look into the accounts, he told me on day 5. Someone accessed those files remotely. They're trying to trace the source. It won't matter if your mother and Benjamin control the narrative. They don't control everything. Not anymore. He paused. I found something, Olivia. A paper trail. Benjamin has been siphoning money from client accounts for years. The $50,000 they're blaming you for? That's just the tip of the iceberg. I sat up straighter. What are you saying? I'm saying they didn't just frame you because you're with me. They framed you because you were getting too good at your job. That Morrison discrepancy you found? That was Benjamin's money. You almost caught him. So he decided to catch you first. Everything clicked into place. The sabotage, the harassment, the systematic campaign to undermine my credibility. It was never just racism, though. That was the weapon they used. It was fear. They were afraid of what I might find. I need copies of everything, I said. Every file, every email, every transaction. Already working on it. But Olivia, this is dangerous. Benjamin has friends, powerful friends. If we go public and we can't prove it, then we prove it. I spent the next 2 weeks becoming a ghost. I reached out to Mia, the receptionist who'd always been kind before the fear made her look away. We met at a coffee shop in Jersey City, where no one would recognize her. I know what they did to you was wrong, she whispered. I wanted to say something, but Emma, she threatened my job, my visa, everything. I'm not here to blame you, I said. I'm here to ask for your help. Mia had access to the building's security footage. She'd seen Benjamin's assistant, Noah, accessing my desk after hours. She'd seen Sophia at my computer. She'd seen things she'd been too afraid to report. I can get you the footage, she said. But if they find out, they won't, I promise. I reached out to Oliver, an IT technician who'd helped me when I first started. He'd been fired 3 months ago for budget cuts, right after he started asking questions about data security. I knew something was off, he said when we met. The way they had certain accounts partitioned, the weird logins at night, I tried to flag it. And they got rid of you. Quietly, with a nice severance and an NDA. He smiled grimly. Good thing I kept copies of everything before I left. Piece by piece, I built my case. Transaction records, security footage, digital forensics showing that the alterations to my work came from Benjamin's personal network. Emails between Benjamin, Emma, and Sophia discussing how to handle the situation, meaning me. I had everything. I just needed the right moment. James's father passed away when James was 19. That's when his mother, Eleanor, took over the family's board seat. She'd spent 20 years protecting the Harrison legacy, or what she believed it to be. Power, prestige, purity. She came to my apartment on a Tuesday evening. I wasn't expecting her. When I opened the door and saw Eleanor Harrison standing in my worn hallway, I thought I was hallucinating. May I come in? She asked. I stepped aside. Let her see my thrift store furniture, my grandmother's quilt on the couch, my degree hanging on the wall. Let her see who her son had chosen. She sat down like the chair might infect her. I'm here to offer you a deal, she said. $200,000. You take it, you sign an agreement never to contact James again, and you disappear. No charges, no investigation, no public humiliation. I let the silence stretch. Then I laughed. You think you can buy me? Everyone has a price. Not everyone. I sat across from her. Mrs. Harrison, your son loves me. I know that's difficult for you to understand. He thinks he loves you. He'll come to his senses. Men like James have dalliances. They don't marry women like you. Women like me. I let those words hang in the air. You mean black women, poor women, Women who work for everything they have instead of inheriting it. Her silence was its own answer. I'm not taking your money, I said. And I'm not giving up James. What I am going to do is expose every person in that company who tried to destroy me, including Benjamin Cross, who's been stealing from your clients for years. Her face went pale. That's absurd. Is it? I slid a folder across my coffee table. Look for yourself. She opened it. I watched her expression change, from disdain to confusion to something that looked like shock. This can't be right, she whispered. It's all documented. Bank records, digital trails, witness statements. Benjamin has been siphoning money for at least 5 years. When I started getting close to the truth, he used Emma and the others to frame me. They were counting on my race to make me an easy target. Who would believe a black woman from Brooklyn over a white CFO from Greenwich? Eleanor was quiet for a long moment. Why are you showing me this? Because despite everything, you love your son, and you love your family's company. Benjamin is going to destroy both if someone doesn't stop him. I leaned forward. I'm giving you a choice, Mrs. Harrison. You can keep fighting me and protect a man who's robbing you blind. Or you can let me help you save everything your family built. She left without giving me an answer, but she took the folder with her. The emergency board meeting was called on a Friday. James told me about it the night before. My mother requested it. She's flying in from Connecticut. Benjamin thinks it's about finalizing the audit on your case. She didn't tell him? She didn't tell anyone. Not even me. He paused. What did you say to her, Olivia? The truth, just the truth. The meeting took place in the Harrison and Associates boardroom on the top floor. I wasn't supposed to be there. I was still on administrative leave. But James had arranged for me to wait in his office. Whatever happened, he wanted me close. I couldn't hear the words, but I could feel the energy shifting in the building, secretaries whispering, security moving. Something big was happening. An hour later, James opened his office door. His face was a mixture of shock and something else. Pride, maybe. It's over, he said. The story came out in pieces. Eleanor had presented my evidence to the board. Benjamin had tried to deny it, but the documentation was overwhelming. The forensic accountants James had hired confirmed everything. Years of embezzlement hidden behind complicated transactions and blamed on convenient scapegoats. I wasn't the first employee Benjamin had framed, just the first one who fought back. He's been arrested, James said. The FBI was involved. Apparently this goes beyond our company. And Emma? Sophia? Terminated. Both of them. Ava, too. He took my hands. The board has issued a formal apology to you. They want you back, with a promotion, a raise, and a complete clearing of your record. I should have felt triumph. Instead, I felt tired. All those months of fighting, of surviving, of refusing to break. It was finally over. There's something else, James said. My mother wants to see you. Eleanor Harrison was sitting in the boardroom alone when I entered. The long table stretched between us, but she stood and walked toward me. I owe you an apology, she said. The words seemed to cost her something. I made assumptions about you that were wrong, unfair. I let my prejudices blind me to who you really are. And who am I, Mrs. Harrison? She met my eyes. Someone who fights for the truth. Someone who couldn't be bought or broken. Someone who might just be exactly what my son needs. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't acceptance. Not fully. Not yet. But it was a beginning. I'm not looking for your approval, I said carefully. I don't need it, but James loves his family. And if we're going to build a life together, I want to try to find a way forward. Not for your sake or mine. For his. Eleanor nodded slowly. I can respect that. We didn't hug. We didn't pretend everything was suddenly fine. But when she shook my hand before leaving, her grip was real. The company's public statement came out the following Monday. Benjamin Cross's arrest made the papers. White-collar crime in a prestigious firm. The kind of scandal that sells. But what wasn't public was the internal reckoning. The way the employees who'd whispered about me suddenly couldn't meet my eyes. The way Charlotte at reception practically fell over herself to greet me when I returned. The way power shifted when the truth finally came to light. I didn't gloat. That wasn't who I wanted to be. But I did walk through that lobby with my head high, past the marble floors and the expensive flowers, past the people who'd tried to destroy me. I took the elevator to my new office, and a real office, with windows and a door and my name on a placard outside. Mia stopped by with flowers. "You did it," she said, tears in her eyes. "You really did it." "We did it," I corrected. "I couldn't have done this without you and Oliver and everyone else who was brave enough to tell the truth." Oliver had been offered his job back. With back pay. He'd accepted. Sometimes justice comes too late, but sometimes it comes just in time. That evening, James took me to the same restaurant in Queens where we'd had our first real date. The same corner table, the same candlelight. "I have something for you," he said. I expected flowers. Maybe jewelry. What I didn't expect was a set of keys. "What's this?" "A house." He smiled at my confusion. "In Connecticut. Not on my family's estate, your own place, with a garden." He paused. "For your grandmother, if she wants it." I couldn't speak. All those years of dreaming about giving my grandmother a house with a garden. All those nights working late, saving every penny, hoping. "How did you—" "You told me once, our second lunch together. You said your grandmother deserved to spend her last years somewhere beautiful, with flowers she could grow herself." He took my hand. "I want to give you everything, Olivia. Every dream you've ever had. But more than that, I want to build new dreams with you," I cried. Right there in the restaurant, I cried. Not the quiet tears of pain I'd shed in elevators and empty apartments, but tears of joy, of relief, of finally being seen. "I love you," I said. "You impossible, stubborn, wonderful man. I love you. Enough to marry me?" He was on one knee. I hadn't even seen him move. In his hand was a ring, simple, elegant, a diamond that caught the candlelight. "I was going to wait," he said. "But I've spent too much of my life waiting for the right moment. This is the right moment. You're the right person. You're— Olivia Porter, will you?" "Yes." I was laughing and crying at the same time. Yes, 1,000 times yes. He slid the ring on my finger. It fit perfectly. 6 months later, we were married in a small ceremony in Connecticut. My grandmother sat in the front row of her new garden, surrounded by the roses she'd already started growing. James's mother was there too. Still learning, still trying, not perfect but present. It was enough. I kept working at Harrison and Associates, not because I needed to prove anything, but because I was good at it, because my work mattered, because every time a new hire from a background like mine walked through those doors, I wanted them to see someone who looked like them in a position of power. Some nights I still wake up with my heart pounding, dreaming of those dark months when everything seemed hopeless. But then I feel James beside me, hear my grandmother laughing downstairs, see the ring on my finger catching the morning light. And I remember, they tried to break me. They used every weapon they had: racism, classism, lies, sabotage, fear. They underestimated me because of the color of my skin and the neighborhood I came from. But I'm still standing, still fighting, still rising, and I'm just getting started.